Well, hello everybody. I'm starting my next journey with some of my favourites. So, as you may know, I've now joined the wonderful team at Cosmic Shimmer. I've well loved all these brands. I've used these for years and years and years. I still love some of my H2Os and all that. But what I'm looking at the moment, and I've been asked to work with, is a wonderful product called Pixie Powders. Now, these are packed with mica and they are water reactive. So what happens is the minute you add moisture, they burst open, or you can manipulate them. So they come in these pots now. You might think 30 ml, but that will last a long, long time. You are looking at, well, I've not finished one yet, and I've been doing it a while. So we've got the pixie powders, we have the colours here, we have a bit of the bump on the back, and it says here, Cosmic Shimmer Pixie Powder is a pearl dry mica powder, and due to the way it's created, it's infinite number of uses. So let's have a look at it. The next one we'll have a look at is the bursts. Now, these have got this fiery, amazing effect with them. Now, you look at that and you think, oh, that's a bit interesting. So you look at it and you think, oh, and then again, a realistic version of it on the packaging. Now, everybody who uses these will use them similar and different, or differently similar, or similarly different, whatever you want to say. But basically, we use them very similar ways, but different results with what else we use. So you can use it with good old glue and medias and products like that. But we need to see these in action. Now, I've got a few things I'm going to show you. I've got some work in my book. I have got my little squares that I like to test. I've got some of my blenders, brushes. So I've got the things, right, that you're going to have at home. Sprayer and a gel plate, but I'm only touching on this. I'm not going to go into detail. The important thing you do need is a water spray, a palette if you need one. So 2 sorts. This is one of my old palettes. I've tried to clean out. There's a little bit of residue, but I wanted to give you a realistic view. So you can actually keep them in here for a long time and keep reintroducing water and moisture. So that's that. I've also got like my little palette, which is a firm favourite for using and creating a little bit more of a wash. I've got some watercolour paper. I like to use watercolour paper because it does what I want. I have got some ordinary card, and you'll see there's a huge difference. Any mop-up, I like to put in my little book. And I like to sit, and this is mindfulness. I like to sit sometimes. I just using what I've got in this book. I'll show you what I mean, like blobs and colours. Now, I'm sure I've got some blobs somewhere. Like just blobs, mop-ups, and then I start to draw in them. So a great idea of using, and some of these are from a Mindful Moodling. Some of them are nearly finished. Some of them are not nowhere, and some of them are really at that point where I want to bin them, but I wouldn't bin them because I don't like binning stuff. I'm sure it's a bit like someone saying, right, that's no good, bin it. You're going to come back to it with different eyes, aren't you? So, yeah, and different ways of drawing. And then I like to do notes on it as well. Botox. I was looking at Botox as a way of working with biotoxins and lead white. It's paint. So you're like, hang on. But yeah, I like to do my research, and I like to sort of know how the paint works and how inks work and how the micas work, and they create different sort of light effects and stuff. So let's have a quick look. See some of it there. Right. So I did a little one yesterday, and I got a really beautiful, you see that shine, that mica hits it, and you're like, oh, that's luscious. That's luscious. So we're going to attempt this. And I mean attempt because everybody's will be different. And I'm going to turn my paper over. I like to create a huge canvas, and I like to sort of then chop it up. And then once I've chopped it up, it looks different again. So let's have a little look. First tip I'm going to give you is just dampen the back. The reason I do this is that when I do that, hopefully it won't ruckle as much. So I'm just going to do that right like that. So I'm going to spray. And what happens is it helps it to not buckle, because once you put powders on and it buckles in the middle, they run down, and you might not want that. You might want to have it a little bit more fixed. So the first thing I'm going to do is you will have a little silver foil in there. Make sure that you take that off, and you have all this wonderful resin. Don't waste that, and don't waste that, because first of all, get rid of it. So that's your first tip. Right. So what I can do then is, I know it's daft. I know. I'm going to get a tiny bit of water. I will tell you though, make sure that your lids are on, because you might think, oh, there's no powder anywhere. Oh, my word, there is. So I'm just going to get one of my finer brushes. Got a finer brush, and I'm just going to show you by just introducing some water into the middle, not outside the circle. I'm going to create some little bubbles. So anywhere. Oh, that's like creating your little bubbles under the sea or whatever. And this is just clean, I'm just shaking my pot here. So just got those on just to show you. You can ink up some of these, you can take them off. So here, you might not see, but here I have got some residue. So I'm going to activate it. And can you see, by using water on the other side, I don't get that bending effect. There's a little bit, but not much. You see, a bit there. So just here, I can add that and let it swim. By letting it swim and walk, I like to do it. Now you can just create like runs by having it like that. And you can do it either way. Now I'm conscious of the camera. So what I've got are some runs. So let's have a look at a different way of doing it. I'm going to put some water onto the surface here. Just some water. And I'm just going to do one shape. Now it's lots of water here, but I'm just going to do a circle. Okay. So let's just do, now this one I'm using is Candy Pink. Now be careful, just tap very gently. If you tap from the side, you get less. If you tap from the bottom, you get a wallop, and you don't always want a wallop. So let's look, just got it on the inside of this. No more water to what's on. And I'm just introducing a little bit more. So I've got a shaded effect. Look, I want some more water, so let's get some blends going. So I'm letting it blend, I'm letting it do its thing. Like that. I'm going to add more water to it. Water's your best friends with this. So I've got some interaction. I'm letting it find its way. I love doing stuff like this because you never know what you're going to get. So I'm going to put some here. So now I'm going to change it up a little bit, and I'm going to add something that is direct to paper. So I'm going to use a darker one for this, just because you'll be able to see it. So again, make sure your cap's on, and I always try and keep that cap for the same one every time. So again, oh, look at that. Get some colour out. There. It's only because I'm mean. Right, now, if you rub it in with your finger, see it's a little bit wet there, but if you rub it in when it's dry, you get a different effect. So I'm just rubbing it in like that. I'll get that out a little bit, I think. And as it's going, you can smooth it out as well. So if I add more water to that, you do, if you want to wear gloves, but it darkens quite nicely and it keeps it where you want it. But I can push it out if I want. So I'm just going to add it over here. Sorry, my page is going all over, but I do get very giddy. So I'm going to do this with my brush. I'm just going to add some lines to it. Let the water do the rest. It looks the right rest, doesn't it? But it won't. So got that on there, I've got that on there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some paint to it. So I've got the pink. I'm going to add a tiny bit in there. That's all I need. Don't need much more than that. And I'm just going to go. Now, my advice is always put your water in first. Because if you put your water in second, it goes everywhere. So now I'm going to use it as a paint or an ink because it's more of a watercolour. And I'm just going to introduce some lines and direction. Now I'm picking up other colours, which is cool. So leave that to one side and I'm just going to tip out all the colour out of there. And you might think, whoa, that's a bit of a mess. But it isn't, honestly, because by the time you have set that aside to dry, you'll get some amazing effects. So I want to show you that one, which it will be a lot more subtle because it's wet, it's darker colour. But if I wanted to do some pickups from this, which is quite nice to do, is I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to drop it in. Now you get some really nice effects from that. So I just put that to one side. And obviously the more wet there is, the more of a wash. See, it's very gentle. If I put some more there, but this can then be worked on. So that'll be a nice little like scene, water scene, I think. So I've got that one there. But now I want to add some different things to this. So I'm going to get a little bit of the water right here. And I'm just going to put it, just move it over, just going to put it and show you how great this is for blending. So picking some up, very gently blend it off. Now the thing is, you can have it as deep as you want, as dark as you want, as light as you want, but the one thing it is up to you. So take that off. I'm going to go now. Oh, got the wrong one. It's got, this is a bit stiff, but you can use your finger dabbers. Might not do it because there's paint on it, but you can just slap with your finger dabbers like that and you get some nice like fingerprints. This will just dry dense, but you can see there now I've got the fingerprints. I need a better one of them. I should have got a better one. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of the powder here and remember where it is. I've gone in really strong. So I like to dry a lot of that off as much as possible. And then I'm going to get that. And I'm going to use one of my, these are really old, but one of my sort of patterns. And I'm just going to use that to create that. So I've got a wonderful effect that if I spray that now, it will still react and bleed out. So let's do it again. So that one's already wet. And just, you see, it's already wet. The residue's underneath. Look there, we're starting to see the colour splits, which are amazing. And you can see the mica will start to come out. And then I can wash this off because it's water-based. Just be careful where it is. If it's on a white carpet at home, I wouldn't try it. So you can keep this and you can just wipe your, but as you can see, I'm not a lover of cleaning my stuff. So what happens if I want to create even more? Well, I've got some texture paste here. And this texture paste I did before on one of mine. So this is maybe stuff you've got at home. So I'm really pushing it in so that what's happening is you can see that the paste is acting like a resist. You see? So the resist is really, it's creating the depth in the back, but leaving that light. Now, I can do a little bit more, so I'll get a bit of the other colour now. I'm going to use here in my little palette a little bit more, so just put that in there. And I'm going to, again, this is green now. As you can see, it's easily wiped off. But once it's dry, you know, it's another game then, another game. So, and you can see I'm just getting that little bit of colour on it. And I'm just going to say, oh yeah, look at that. So this is a wonderful way of using your stencils and your pixie powders. Changing up. So all the colours, say you've got fabrics and stuff you want to use, you can now use them and dye your fabrics, your ribbons and everything to go with it. So I'm just using a bit of dabbing off there. And in the next video, what I'll do is I'll pull all the papers out just to show you. So I've created quite a nice little, to me, it's really sort of showing the details. Now, once you let that dry, you can let that dry and you can spray it a little bit and it'll bleed, which is sometimes what you want. But then what I can do is wipe it off. So I'll just wipe the top and hopefully you'll be able to see. And this is ordinary card, it's not watercolour paper. You can see that there's a white and that's picked up the colour from this. But you can mix it in to the paste. But I can't do everything today. I could try, but it just wouldn't work. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get one of my favourites. Good old. Yes. Jelly plate. Now, I don't know how clean this is, so let's clean it together. Let's see. Try to clean up with some of these. No, pretty clean. That's good. Because I wondered whether I'd not. But it's, you know, these gel plates are made like this, aren't they? So I'm just going to give it a little bit. Straight onto it. It looks like you've not got anything on it, honestly. You look like, oh, what's she doing there? She's not got anything on that. A little bit of pink as well, I think. And my advice is, as it says on it, you must shake them up to get all the goodness, all the mica working and all the, you know, all the mediums mixing together and colours mixing together to get that effect. A little bit of this. So, gone quite heavy there, which you wouldn't believe, would you? Looking at it. I like the way that that's the wrong top. Stupid. Anyway, I like the way that I can now get this shape. So this shape is going to be on ordinary card, not on watercolour paper. I'm just going to let that sit a minute because I need to let it. And I've got one. It's quite strong and the water has spread. But I really don't mind. Now, with it being card, it's very absorbent, so I don't get any sort of time to clean off. So I'm going to do another one and I'm going to lift it up So this will be 2. Yep, I'll press again. So we've got this wonderful effect here. So I'm just going to see any more on there, put it back on. And you've got this wonderful like forest scene here. You see the trees and the water. And what I can do is I'll do another one and do a quick scene. So I've got this on here. I'm just going to put in, I'm using oh look at I start. Oh, do that. Make some of the best colours. Just cleaning up. So I'm just going to do this. Get a little bit. Don't get, what I would say, don't get over a bit, I am going to say, don't get overly confident. And yeah, like that. But you can with the lighter ones. It's just not a really good idea with the darker ones because they're so strong and powerful. And before you know it, it's completely overpowered the other colours. And can I just at this point explain that they are totally mixable. Totally mixable. So you can mix them in any way you want. Now, now there's all sorts of ways of using them with paint and brushes and all that I can only do so much in one. And I just wanted to give you a really good feel for how this, I'm not doing that, that's wasting it. So first of all, let's spray. So we've given it a spray and so far we've got nothing really reacting. I'm going to clean off my roller and I'm just going to go once. Then I'm going to take this and clean off. So I've got that surface there to clean. I always think that this looks like trees in its own right. So that's a wooded area. So I'm going to leave it to sit. And let the water be absorbed by the card so that the pixie powders will be on the surface, so to speak. But I'm just going to try and wiggle it a little bit. I think there's a song in that. And I've got that. It's quite strong, but let me show you something with that. I'm going to really water that down now. Let's get that. So I'll put that there. I'm going to get another one. And what we're going to show you is there are ways of working on it. If you get watercolour paper, you can actually work straight on it. If you're using, I'll show you what I mean. If you're using ordinary card, you don't have much blendability. But I've got that really soft one. So I'm just going to, there's a bit of colour on there. So I'm going to use one of my fan brushes and I'm just going to do a little bit of, and I put it back down. Now there are ways of creating, your own sort of marking tools so that you can get this back on straight. But I've got my bubble now, so I've created my bubble and I'll leave it to dry. Or what I can do is, I'm trying to show you now, just put this back on there. And I've got the edges shown a little bit more. So, there we go. There's the clean up. So, get that. Now, the one we did before, this one, I'm just going to put the jelly plate on top. Oops. And I'm just going to put the jelly plate to this. Can't put it there because my ink's there. So put it there. Jelly plate like that. Put that there. If I want a little bit more on here, I can. So all the time, you never ever waste anything, ever. Because what you're doing is, as you're working, you're going to be sort of adding to and adding to. So the variations on this is, as we can see back with these now, if I just get this, I'll have to wipe that up. Yeah, as you can see from this, these are blendable because the watercolour paper allows movement. If it's not and it's card, then you will get more of a direct sort of imprint. Can you see this is watercolour and this is direct, it's being absorbed, but you can see the mica is on the top. Now, shall we? This is ordinary cards. Will this have much effect now? It is a little bit, but not as much as these would, because this is, take that, this is totally absorbent, and this is absorbent, but it gives you more time to play. We've got this one where we used it very dry. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at this. It's very dry with the round plate there, but I'm just going to get some water and see if I can add some of this to work on it. Not really, but what I can do is get a little tiny bit. Oh, I don't need any, I've got some in here. Little tiny bit of this here. See, it lasts ages. You don't think you've got much in it, but my goodness me, you have. So just going to get that a bit stronger, and now I can input my own, put a little bit more in. Very dark, hasn't it? So, wet the paper first, and you can get this to blend by putting the water down first. You can see how absorbent it is. So what I could do then is get this, put it on the gel plate. So I'm just creating this on a round edge, and I'm just going to plop that, and that's technical term, plop that, and we're going to get a nice rounder edge, which isn't as sort of scary as that other one. But yeah, so I can create almost like a forest feel to it. So yeah, I mean, I need to leave that to dry. So let's have a quick look at what we've done. We've done loads of techniques, but next time you'll see me, I will be doing what to do with them techniques. So we did the first, which is drying beautifully now. We did the first where we were looking at just throwing it on. Then we can add to this, so we can put inks on. You can put paints on. All the Cosmic Shimmer range all work together beautifully, so they enhance each other. So the colours haven't gone muddy. I love the fact that we've got this ombre almost in the middle there. So that was the main one. It's still wet. So then we started to look at through a stencil, and we were doing it really. We was picking up on watercolour paper. We were dabbing excess off. So we've got like little pieces. I always keep pieces like this. Then I got my brush and decided that I was going to use the pixie powders and the bursts together, and I was going to put them through a stencil and then allow the water to do its thing. So then we did the gel press. Then we did the powder. This powder medium, is like a paste. So it's like a modelling paste, a light paste, all those things that you might have. We've got some products there that we're going to be showing you soon in the range with all of us. And you can see we've added colour into the areas using this and modelling paste. Then we went into using the gel plate, and we got different effects. And this is all on ordinary paper card, so we got different effects. This one was quite strong, and you can see the mica in it building up. Well, that would make a beautiful scene. So when it's dry, don't be tempted to do it now, because if you cut it now, it might be raggedy. But these look great when you cut them out. Or you can add as you go on. Now, I understand that people will be saying, but what can you do with them? Well, I think personally, my mind's going in overdrive now, but I just think it's just the world's your oyster with all these techniques. I mean, I've done predominantly pinks and greens, but from that tiny, like 2 puffs of colour, that's it. I've used a roller, I've used a blender, I've used a blend and brush thing, I've used my fan brushes and my other brushes, I've used a spritzer, palette, stencil, and I think that's it, apart from these wonderful bursts and amazing powerhouses of colour and effect. I just adore them. So all this, right? Sit down half an hour and play. And I don't know if you're anything like me, you'll just completely forget about everything else and do what you need to do, and that's take some time for yourself. Do your own thing and be mindful and enjoy it, because with these products, you're never going to go wrong. You can't go wrong. And remember what I said at the beginning, take some and put it in your little book so that as you travel around, you can then mess about how you want. You've got the gilding on it there and make it nice and neat and tidy and that. And so, the world's your oyster. I take that everywhere. When people go in the pub, I just don't want to sit there on my own because I don't drink. So I if they're doing anything else, I sit and draw and colour and paint. But having it in a small album is really good. Well, I hope you've enjoyed your time. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'll be back very, very soon with some work on how we move from this to the next part. So thank you very much, and I will see you soon. Bye.